how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. Jesse Peterson.
Emily Gardner.
Great, Emily. Go ahead and have a seat.
All right, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Doing fantastic.
Kind of bummy weather out there.
I know. I thought that Boston would be treating us better than it is right now. But.
Yeah. We're here to discuss this amendment. I've heard that negotiations have gone super well so far. We're just kind of this last thing. But I just kind of wanted to review it just so we can start out on the same page. Make sure that I just kind of wanted to understand your side of this amendment. You want to be able to kind of have free reign of that. Can you kind of describe this amendment for me, or this clause?
Sure, Emily. So, we have 200 locations throughout the nation, and typically we like to have a lot of continuity from one location to the next. As a nationwide chain, you have to have that. And so this is the exact same article that we were using in all the 200 other locations. I think that the developers we've worked with have found that it's been really beneficial to give us that flexibility to make sure that we're doing our job. You guys are the professionals when it comes to real estate, but we know our beans when it comes to retail. And so kind of giving us that flexibility to call the shots and see what's going to work to make sure that we're consistently having great foot traffic has been beneficial for our developers. And so that's why we've used it throughout all the locations.
Right. And I'm very appreciative that you guys have been in this so long, and I'd love to be able to kind of learn from you guys because you have so much experience. And I think you guys will be a great benefit to this location, but it does worry me a little bit having so much, having this clause be so open. We're kind of looking at hoping that we can have some kind of amendment to it so that it can protect the other retailers that are going to be located around you. We're worried that it could detract people from coming. What kind of stores do you normally put in your locations? Like, what kind of goods do you usually sell?
So we retail soft goods, but we also have a small amount of hard goods as well. I know that they had mentioned maybe in previous negotiations that we only do soft goods, but as is, we actually do have a small portion of hard goods. So as far as content in the store, it's mostly soft goods with a small amount of hard goods.
How does that work for you guys? Is that helped your company, or have you seen good results from combining the two?
Yeah, absolutely. We just like to do wherever the market goes, and we like that flexibility.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Do you guys know is this going to be like an experimental location for you guys? Do you think that you're going to be trying some new things here very often, or do you have certain locations that you kind of try those at first, which is kind of up for grabs? You need to come up with those.
Right. Any location could be a location for that. Sometimes we implement something nationwide, sometimes just in a certain region, just to see how well it does and pull some stats on it, get the data. Honestly, it's hard to predict, which is kind of why we need that flexibility.
Yeah. I'm not sure that we can make this work with it how it is. How flexible are you willing to be on working something out to be able to, how firm are you into this clause, how it is?
Right. Well, as I was getting briefed on this slightly before coming in, they were just kind of telling me what had been going on so far. They let me kind of know that this is your guys' first big project. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's fantastic. That's absolutely awesome. I'm super excited for you guys.
Thank you.
To enter into this kind of realm of developing larger establishments. Honestly, like I said, we've done this at least 200 other times, and it's worked really well with the developers, probably just because of the fact that that there's continuity, and they understand that we're going to do what's best. And obviously, you guys are going to be knowing what's best for real estate, but we're going to try to do what's best for retail.
Of course, we want to make sure that we're both sides are getting the best option and that we're both succeeding. But having so much of that control in your hands, we can't control any of that. We're really just up to your will. Makes us a little uneasy. I'm wondering, what are the issues that you have with this amendment that we proposed?
Honestly, I'd love to put your fears to rest on this, just because it has worked very positively in the past. I mean, with kind of the counter article that you guys sent to us, it just doesn't really mesh with our culture and who we are in being able to change with the market. I mean, you probably are like everybody else, where you can order on Amazon and get it to you the next day, if not sooner sometimes, delivered right to your doorstep. You can pull into Walmart or Target and they're going to load the groceries right into your car.
Right.
I mean, retail is just kind of this crazy beast that you just have to be able to keep up with. And so, honestly, the counter article, as you guys sent it, just doesn't allow us to be able to do that and to stay where we need to be. So it just won't work for us.
Right. It puts my nerves at rest a little bit to know that you have been so successful with all of your other ventures. But we don't want to restrict your innovation and what you can do, but we do want to maintain some control. And I'm sure that in your 200 locations, not every contract is exactly the same. I would imagine that you've worked with them to some extent, and we're just kind of trying to see what we can do with you. Wondering if maybe there's something that we can do to help put our other retailers at rest, so like they can ensure that they are having the environment that they're wanting to be at, and that's not just subject to change whenever, at will, and they have no control over that. I wonder if we can put a clause in there that says that maybe it has to go through an approval process through like the board, and you guys propose those changes, and it's not just up to anything. What would you think about that?
And I totally understand where you're at. If I was in your position, kind of new to the whole mall development and trying to figure out the ropes, I think I would probably feel the exact same way. As you can understand, for me to go back and report on the new deal in our quarterly meeting, and let them know that, hey, we have all these other 200 locations on board, but we have this one store in Boston that wants special attention anytime that we want to roll out a new product and we want to roll out new advertising. It's probably not going to sit super well with them, just because it doesn't make sense for the company.
Mm-hmm. I'm just worried about our the financing. The people we've lined up to be able to finance for this is contingent on this anchor store, and we would love to do business with you guys. But as it is, we're just not content with the description of the roles that you will play in that. Are you guys, have you run into this issue before, that other locations are not able to work with it? Like, are you pretty consistent with all 200 stores, or are there other locations that you've had to ease, and how have you solved this problem in the past?
Right. I think I would frame it not so much as a problem, but that this article is actually more of a solution. Just obviously, if we're going to be, there's an adage that I really like that goes something kind of like, don't let the tail control the dog. So I think sometimes, and maybe this is where sort of your thinking is stemming, is just this idea that that it'll be inconvenient or bad for the other satellite shops, or that there's going to be conflict there. But honestly, I think that it's better to understand that in this situation, as we'll be occupying kind of a major part of the mall, that it doesn't make a lot of logical sense to be worried about the tail, which is the smaller parts controlling the dog, which is really going to be bringing in the foot traffic and helping the location be successful.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But those smaller locations are a good portion, all of them put together are a good portion of what's going to make the whole location successful. Those smaller satellite stores will depend on, they're going to go into locations that are similar to what they're selling so that they can get a similar audience and a similar customer. And I just wonder if there's a way that we can put together a solution that helps set their nerves at ease, so that they know that with maybe the change of leadership in your company, with this with a lease, that they can know that there's a little bit of continuity with what's being sold in that location.
I think that honestly, Emily, you'll find that a lot of these smaller locations are, instead of being concerned, they're actually going to be eager to be in a location where discount is, because of our previous track record. They are anxious to be around there because they know that we're going to be the ones who bring people walking by their location every day so that they can catch their attention. So I think, honestly, instead of them being concerned, normally it sort of puts them at ease, knowing that they're going to be in a location and that they know that we're going to do what it takes to make sure that there's constantly foot traffic happening,
right,
independent of what's happening with the economy, because we're able to shift and adjust and make those necessary changes.
Of course, that's why we're coming with you guys. But I as this is, I just don't think that we can agree, we can sign something with this statement how it is. Why are you guys coming with us? Like, what is it about this location that you guys are so interested in?
Sure. Obviously, we could probably be anywhere in Boston. There's a lot of developers that are interested in this, and we're kind of newer to the Boston area. Hopefully, if this goes well, kind of, if you will, a guinea pig kind of project, if it goes well, we'll probably open up other locations as well. I think the reason that we went with Hawkins, obviously there are other people in the company that do the original location check and figure out everything. So obviously there's a reason why we're sitting across the table from each other right now. Obviously there's been a lot of people in the company who have felt really good about going with you guys, and I know that you guys have negotiated a pretty fantastic rate for us, which we really appreciate.
We want to make this a successful thing for you, but how much are you willing to move on this? Like, it's this how it is. I'm sure I don't think that either of us are satisfied with even what the other has proposed. What are some ways that you think that we can rectify that?
If you'll help me understand what your main concern is, maybe we can move from there. I'm having a hard time pinpointing what your main concern is.
Okay.
In the negotiation.
So I'm worried, the company's worried that you have complete control over what goes in there. The only thing that protects us from what you put in there is zoning laws, and we have no control over that, whether they are subject to change or what you guys do. The goods that are sold in your location will affect who is coming and going in those other retail locations, and you're not worried about that. That's, you know, you can drive a lot of your own customer, your clientele, but these other locations are contingent on kind of what other stores are around, and they're going to go based off of that. Our financiers are also a little worried that there are so much control. So we have a couple of different avenues a couple of these different areas that are just worried about how much control there is, and that the control is all in your hands. And we are with you guys for a reason. We think that it could be an awesome partnership. But if leadership were to change, if relations were to go bad for some reason, it's a long-term lease. We want to be able to balance that control just a little bit, so that we can kind of see where it goes from there.
Sure. That absolutely makes sense, and I totally see where you're coming from on that. And here's the thing, if it really, just to give you guys peace of mind, so that you know that if on the odd chance that this isn't a good location for us and we need to back out, that whoever comes in our place will be someone of similar value to you guys. We could definitely put a clause in there that excludes certain categories. A call center, furniture stores, whatever that's not going to bring high volume foot traffic. If that's going to make you feel more comfortable, that's definitely something that we're able to do.
That, we would appreciate something like that, where we can, maybe it's an obvious thing that you wouldn't put that there and we wouldn't want that there, and so it wouldn't even go there, but just to like protect us from those kind of things, both sides, just kind of so we have an understanding of where the future is going to go. We would appreciate that.
Okay, that's time. It's fun.